I think the thing that I'm most excited for is just those opportunities that I'm going to get throughout the year to make an impact.
I want to make sure everyone feels involved and everyone feels that sense of community, because I think that was one of the biggest things with the prefects when I was first in year 10, is that they made me feel so welcomed and so part of, the Fling culture. And so I guess that's kind of what I aim to do as a prefect this year.
Well, it's a great honour to be a prefect this year. Obviously I get to work with a lot of lovely people and I get to work for the other students and the teachers, and I feel like it's going to be a very special year for me in that way.
What it means for me to be a prefect is to be able to serve the community, to be able to help people from all different walks of life within the school. And I don't know, just to be a really good example that people can look up to and people can come to and talk to.
The whole idea of the prefect training was training us to be Christian leaders, which was the goal of the teachers that had us then. We learned about humility as a group, we learned about serving as a group. That's the kind of attitude we want to bring to the school as leaders.
It was a lot to get to know the other prefects and what we're good at, what we're bad at, and so we can become one united front as all prefects. And to be able to know people's strengths and weaknesses, we can fill their parts to become one whole unit.
So I really enjoyed prefect training. We learnt so much, and particularly to work as a team, I thought it was really great. All the prefects were able to come together and just learn what it really means to be a leader.
And even in your roles and in your discussions that will again come through the next 24 hours, I want you to think about the ways that you might be a light again to our community.
Lighting those candles down there in the pitch black was pretty symbolic. So it's for me, it sort of marked the hope, and that even in the darkness or the hard times, that there's always a light. And as a prefect, I feel like it's sort of my duty to be that light in sometimes what feels like darkness for some people.
One thing that was really symbolic to me was when one candle was lit, it showed a tiny bit of light, but when all of the prefects lit their own candle, the whole dungeon lit up really brightly.
When everyone was quiet, and it was just a really nice time of reflection and who I was and then who I wish to be in the prefect role, and where we signed on as being prefect under there. That was really significant.
It was the first step in, being a prefect, I guess. And it was cool to see all the other past prefects' names, because I've always been pretty close with them, and it was cool to see them and be part of that, I guess, now.
This is you recognising that you are signing on for something next year that is beyond yourself. Being a servant leader is not about what you can get out of it. In fact, it's completely the opposite.
And Father, we want to see that light shine brighter than ever through these young people. We want to see it absolutely burning with a brightness that people have never seen before, that people will be astounded at the senior school to say, wow, look at the light shining from this group of young people who are leading with affirmation, with encouragement, with support, with organisation, with opportunity.
Who's a prefect that you would like to model your leadership on? And I think that's a pretty common question when you go through.
So the river walk, that was probably one of the main highlights for me at the prefect training. At first I was told that we were walking sort of swimming at parts up the river and then eventually to Buckley's Falls.
I think with the river walk, where we had to carry things and make sure they didn't get wet, was really good for us to work as a team, and each of us played to our strengths.
I had to hold I think it was the book of Genesis above the water and not get it wet once. And then I also had to remember a verse. That was hard.
With the river walk, we all had our own pace going up, pushing against the tide. So some people might have been going faster and some people might have been going slower. But if we all stuck together and helped each other out through the hard bits and all became one big unit, it really taught the groups to work together and be able to push forward to what we're about to witness with our actual role as a leader.
I thought that was really special to be able to have the top leaders of our school come along for prefect training, and also just to be able to hear from our leaders and see how they lead, but also for them to throw themselves in the deep end with us and to join and lead in that way of being with us and doing the river walk with us. You know, they didn't need to, they could have sent someone else if they'd like to, but the fact that they sent it just shows their leadership and the way that it's about being an example and not that authoritative standing on a stage sort of thing.
Walking against the tide of the river was supposed to be symbolic that, you know, it's going to be a challenge, there's going to be lots of things coming your way, and it's a challenge to test you as a human being if you're able to overcome those challenges and push through them. And everyone went up that river differently. Everyone had their own technique, so I think that also shows that everyone's going to do it differently.
Sometimes in leadership you have to go against the crowd, or it's also the tougher thing to do. So if it would have been a lot easier to just go down the stream, which I'm sure we all would have preferred, but even accomplishing the challenge of being able to work so much harder to get to the end of the river going against the current was really symbolic and a bit of an achievement that we can all look back on and say we did it together.
Today we join together as a school community to celebrate not just the prefects and new staff whom we will appoint today, but the importance of leadership qualities that we all possess.
We talked about the story of Jesus where he's washing his disciples' feet and he puts on an apron to wash their feet, and they talked about the blazer being the apron.
To be able to wear that is really just like what we learnt in prefect training, was that it was almost like our apron to be able to serve, and I think that's really special, and so today was a really significant moment about being able to be given that.
The prefect investiture was very special to me. It's when we, as a big group of prefects, was recognised as being the leaders of this school.
I wonder what you think about when you think about someone being a good leader. What does it mean? What does it take? The type of leadership that we want to encourage has already been talked about with all of you, I'm sure, but let's get it out in the open. We want to encourage each other to grow into the description of what a servant leader is all about.
Being able to be nurtured into this role by Christian College is like a real honour for me, because Christian College has really allowed us to fill this role the way it needs to be filled, not just put us in this role and hope for the best. They've taken time into teaching us what we need to do and how we need to be to fill this role.
Good leaders, servant leaders, are not afraid to call out bad behaviour when they see it. They're not afraid to call out when someone's dropped the ball, but nor are they afraid to become accountable to others. This is a challenge for all of you. As a servant leader, become accountable to others. In fact, good servant leaders actually seek out those who can speak into their lives.
They want to help us be the best versions of ourselves and how use our strengths and work on our weaknesses with other people and just really try and find out who we are.
For Christian College to give me that opportunity is amazing. As a house prefect, one of the problems we see every year is some people just don't want to get involved. So that is going to be a challenge for all the house prefects from every house, is to get more people involved, but I'm sure we have a very good group of leaders and we're going to be able to do that very well this year.
To me, leadership isn't about telling people what to do. It's about helping people out if they're struggling, or just being that supportive person and someone who's empathetic if someone's upset, and just being there for someone else.